So today I'm going to go through an exercise that I call alternate timelines or counterfactual thinking. If you've ever seen the moving sliding doors where Gwyneth Paltrow either narrowly misses her train or makes her train and then lives out her two parallel but different timelines, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this exercise is all about figuring out a choice that you want to make. So I'm going to go through it now. What would happen if you made choice A instead of B? Take a moment and discuss or write down the story of the consequences of each action. Okay, so for today, let's talk about a couple of different ways in which I might develop my career as a reflective journaling coach, right? So what if I wanted to choose between leading retreats and workshops for groups or becoming a well-known public speaker and getting on the public speaking circuit or creating my own path through public speaking? All right. So we'll call workshops and retreats choice A and public speaking choice B. With the understanding that I might possibly do both someday, but let's say that's what I want to work on next on my path. Okay, so I choose to begin pursuing workshops and retreats for groups of people. And I approach, people at churches and book clubs, or host them myself and promote them, or maybe over at the Bothwell Art Center where I teach a few classes. And I begin devising a different series of workshops and enjoy that kind of designy process. And then I go and I meet some new people and I enjoy their company and we work together to go through the process of reflective journaling through whatever sort of means I've come to believe in or want to try out with a group, right? So what would that look like? It would look like going to a bunch of different places where different people are hosting the workshop. It would mean cleaning up my house and opening up my home if I wanted to do workshops here. It would mean going to the Bothwell Art Center. There's some economy of scale here. I would be paid more for the workshops than I would be for individual lessons. My opportunities for networking would grow as I met and connected and developed relationships with the new people I meet in the workshop and retreat community. I would get to serve, a number of people in a meaningful way, but it would stay, I think, kind of intimate and sustainable and wouldn't be super high pressure. It'd be like medium pressure, like just pushing the edge of my comfort a little bit. And it would kind of keep me on this moderate, slow and steady path toward success as I refine my approach and get to know more people and continue to build my reflective journaling community. So that has several good points. Now let's discuss what happens if instead I choose to pursue public speaking. Okay, so first, I research public speaking a lot, learn techniques, learn structures, learn methods. This would mean like watching some videos and reading some books, and really kind of getting the hang of different speech types. And then, of course, I would need to write speeches. Like I'd need to have a keynote of an hour, I'd need to have a half-hour speech and a 15-minute speech and a 5-minute speech. And then I'd want to have a solid sense of my message and my brand. And genuinely something helpful that I can give the audiences who are there, and really focus it on being of service to them. So I'd have to kind of struggle against conventional speaking techniques and really move into offering value, being of service and being helpful and useful, and maintain my integrity as a fundamentally loving and authentic person, and not try to be all performative and artificial. And there is a balance to be struck there. It would also mean figuring out, how to get started as a public speaker, how to grow my network of opportunities, how to refine my process, how to get better at it. And the idea here is that over time I would be able to charge more and more and be asked to speak at grander events and be paid more, and hopefully get to a relatively high rate of pay and reach a lot of people, and possibly have these speeches recorded so other people can watch them on YouTube and whatnot. And this would be high pressure. This would mean hustling a lot to get started. It would mean a lot of ramping up to get better. It would mean overcoming fear and stress. It would mean traveling eventually by plane, and staying in hotels and taking Ubers or renting cars, and then getting up in front of a bunch of people and saying the thing I have come to say with as much authenticity and naturalness and structure as I can manage. And this would mean somehow establishing my credibility and letting people who hire public speakers know that I'm around and know that I'm available, and so forth. And what would the rewards of this be? Well, reaching a wider audience with my message of reflective journaling, becoming more affluent, hopefully, as I make a lot of money per speech, and getting to feel like I'm kind of a big deal, and really challenging myself and stretching myself to grow as a person, and feeling like I'm very successful and sort of got my shit together. So those are a couple of timelines. Let's think about a third choice. What if instead of prioritizing workshops and retreats or public speaking, I began doing some live streaming of reflective journaling classes? What would this look like? Well, it would look like figuring out the tech and choosing a place from which to live stream. Like, would I choose YouTube? Would I choose Facebook? Would I choose Twitch? And then figuring out how to make it work from a technical perspective. And then it would mean coming up with an initial live streaming structure that I could refine over time. And it would mean finding an appropriate and smooth and not obnoxious way to promote it. And it would mean probably scheduling a time when I do it and allowing it to grow naturally in response to the feedback I get from the people who are watching. And it would mean being open to the idea that perhaps no one will watch, or that perhaps a lot more people than I expect might watch. But if I focused on simply being of service and being companionable and being real, that might work out fairly well. Now, the problem with each of these things is that they all involve me being at a site or being live at a certain time, which means, a high level of being there at a moment, and less like putting out a product and sitting back while other people buy it and benefit from it. Oh, excuse me, I totally just burped. I think I'm hungry. All right, after this, I will eat my lunch. I hiccup when I'm hungry. That's like a massive body signal for me. So let's say that over time with the live streaming, I get a little cluster of regular watchers. And over time, people begin to tell their friends about my live streams because they find them interesting. And then my audience grows wider and wider. And although I don't directly monetize the live streams, I might include a plug for the website, which would then link people to my products and services. And it grows at a sustainable pace and doesn't involve me leaving my home. That actually sounds kind of great because it takes away the need to travel, and it also takes away the high pressure of speaking before massive audiences, like on a stage and managing body language, and instead just requires me to act natural and kind of ignore how many people are watching and just stay myself. And then it functions as a very real sort of way in which I can be of service and be myself and create a sort of regular community around reflective journaling. So that sounds kind of great. I have a lot more classes coming up on the regular, my Wednesday and Thursday evening things, my classes at the Bothwell Art Center, which are now like multiple classes monthly, I think 3 or 4 even. So it might be a good idea to say that the in-person classes have progressed enough, and now I can let them ride and keep sticking to them and begin this little foray into live streaming, perhaps through doing little test runs to see if I can get the tech to work. So maybe I'll try that. That sounds kind of great, actually, and I'm into it. Okay. So the next step is which story seems best, and I choose live streaming and use that story to make your choice. Live streaming. Great. I feel kind of awesome about that. I feel pretty clear. I really like that. I can't wait to use this with my reflective journaling classes and clients, and now my live stream audience. So that's kind of cool. I'm happy. All right. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.